I'm Stack for ORPtv, and today this is going to be one of the biggest events in ORP, Ozark Raceway Park history, I believe. What turned out as a hey, did you hear about this, has gone on to become maybe going to be one of the biggest events we have ever had here in the Ozarks with drag racing. Now I'm really honored to have with me here today is Brent Deputy and Brent's team. And Brent, I'm going to let you take the honors of introducing your team here. So you tell
absolutely. We have Jamond, Haug, and Scotty Barker.
Scotty Barker and Jamond Haug. These are the guys who are responsible for the car for the most part. You get all the glory, so to speak, in that 10 seconds that you're making the pass. But these are the guys that spend hours getting you to
Absolutely.
that pass.
For the 4 seconds I get, they've got 4 hours behind it.
Right. How many years have Jamond? How many years have you and Scooter been with him?
I've been with Brent 7 years.
Okay. How about you?
4.
Well, it depends if you go back to the old Nova days or not.
Yeah.
And that could mean
ancient if we go back to the Nova
that could be 20 plus.
Those the number of hours have been just countless. Those are thousands of hours over, combined 10 years. Now, of course, the reason why we're here is tonight's premiere season episode, the season premiere of Street Outlaws, is featuring the race in Kansas City. And part of that race is going to be Stephen Huntley and Brent Deputy. Now, Brent, tell us a little bit here. How did you get contacted from the 405, as they call themselves, out of Oklahoma City? How did they contact you?
Well, I got a call from a producer for the show, wondering if we would be interested and had a car that we thought would be competitive, if we'd be interested. And I told them absolutely we did.
Mm-hmm. So how do you think that when they called you, how did they get to the point where it was you and Stephen that was contacted? Why do you think that you two, or do you know anything about how?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that Blake Hughes and Shane McClellan had something to do with that.
Okay. Shane McClellan, rather, I'm get my names mixed up. Blake Hughes and Shane McClellan. Shane drives the Krusty Nova, as many of you know. Blake Hughes is the owner and here of 417 Motorsports, and that's where we are today at 417 Motorsports at 240 South Union, Suite C. They do a great job here. They've got all kinds of cars around. This is one of the birthplaces of some of these cars, right? This is where these come to the Frankenstein's laboratory here of what's come. Now, about how long ago was this episode filmed? It's airing tonight, October 26th. When was this episode filmed, roughly?
Early October. I think it was after Street Machine, wasn't it?
No, it was before.
So it's been a month or two since.
It's been several months.
Several months, okay. So a while back now, how much notice did you get that they were going to be filming that you were going to be up there on this episode racing?
About 12 hours.
About 12 hours. It's not a lot of notice. Definitely that's on the 405 gang side is short notice for you all.
Well, short notice and trying to adjust to a new atmosphere and
right.
a new place. So.
Right. Now, where exactly? It was in Kansas City that you filmed, correct?
Downtown Kansas City by the GM plant down on the river.
So this wasn't even at the track. For the few people who maybe have not seen Street Outlaws, this wasn't at a regular drag strip. This is no prep. This is street racing. And it was on a downtown street then. Mm-hmm. Was it pretty closed off? What was the area like down there?
It was protected.
It was secured for sure. How long did it take from the time you got there till, say, you raced or until it was done, wrap up? I understand it was a long night.
We were there, 14 hours?
We got there at 7. We made the race arrangements at midnight. We ran at 2.
So it was 5 hours before you even started talking racing and
we weren't allowed to look at the race surface. We weren't allowed to look at their cars until after the bets were made.
So they made their bet. It was definitely they were the dealer, essentially.
They came look at our cars. They sized us all up. They went back, had their meeting, came back, and we decided who raced.
Wow. Okay. Now, how much different? This is a big thing that I'm curious about, and so are our fans. How much different is a car setup? And I know that you're not going to be able to get into the specifics and this and that, but in general, how much different is the prep of this car that from what you we'll see tonight versus what was at Street Machines and that kind of thing?
Totally different. Different gear, transmission gears, different converter, different rear end, different everything. Different shocks, different everything.
So you had to change out, basically the body was what you run with a different car almost underneath. Same tires?
Same tires. We got the notice we were going to run, so we loaded up and ran out and made a lot of hits, a lot of testing to make sure we were right.
So you had a very short amount of time to get this done, to get the car set up the way you wanted it to compete against these guys, right?
The car was still warm when we got there from testing.
So there was not a lot of time for trial and error. It was, okay. Had you met any of the guys from the 405 before? Did you have any?
I'd never even watched the show before.
Okay. Well, you knew Kayla. Most of us know Kayla Morton from our track, but she's a regular at ORP. Been out there for the last couple of years. But as far as the rest of the show, the Chuck, the Murder Nova, the Big Chief, and whatever, all those guys, you weren't familiar with them. What, if anything, was a lot different there? Was there anything that was a lot different than what you expected?
From my perspective, I expected that the road would actually be prepped somewhat.
Right.
And once we finally got to get out there and take a look at it, it looked about like the shop floor, just bare.
So it was not, it was as unprepped as could be, really. It really was bad.
It was even dusty.
That's really. Now, did that present any, was there any nervousness about dangers, about safety with it being that unprepped, or just part of it?
Just part of it. We all accept that responsibility every time we get in one of these cars. So.
What kind of things did you think going into it held true? Was there some things that you had ideas of how this would go that went the way you thought? I mean, obviously, I bet you were surprised that you didn't get to, they got to see your hand. It was like a game of poker, and they said, well, you show us your cards, but you don't get to see ours. Was there anything that went like you expected, or was it all?
It was as expected. It was worse than we expected, but it was as expected.
You expected the worst and got it.
And we got every bit of it.
Well, and of course, this episode's going to air right after the show tonight at Bears, 3821 South Campbell. This is a big event. We're looking for maybe a couple hundred people there, and that's a testimony to how popular the show is and how popular Brent Deputy is and Stephen Huntley and Ozark Raceway Park, the car. This is all about you all. It's going to be a great time, and I can't wait for everybody to see how it goes. Of course, all the results are secretive, but by the time you see this, you're going to know how the event went, and we look forward to seeing you. Brent, congratulations for being picked to be on the show and asked to be there. Jamond, it's a pleasure to meet you. And Scooter, nice to meet you too. And thank you to Blake Hughes and 417 Motorsports for having us here and allowing us to come in. This is going to be a big day. We're looking forward to it, and we look forward to seeing you all back next year at ORP during the Street Machines and all the other shootouts. So, any final words you want to talk about your sponsors going out? Who would you like to specifically thank?
There's so many people, it's hard to ever thank everybody. We've got a ton of help in the background that don't get any recognition, and
Right.
we're fine with that.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that work really hard for us. What really helped us, I think, a lot of that race was Chance Converters taking care of some last-minute details and getting us a new converter out for the deal.
Marty Chance with Neil Chance Racing Converters out of Wichita, which, if you watch Street Outlaws, it's not uncommon to see that Neil Chance Racing Converters shirt on there. It's a great company. Again, thanks a lot, guys. I want to thank you. I know that Barker's Finish Line Detail and Automotive, and Brent, we want to thank you all very much for being here. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.
Thanks.